Hello, everyone. Let's start a new webinar. This one, the first one of the year, 2021. So it's always good to start. Great topic, Volvo Penta. It's everything going to be related to Volvo Penta, gasoline and diesel, inboard and stationary. I'm going to do a little introduction, who we are, why we're talking about Volvo Penta, and then the most important part is going to be, the second part of Volvo Penta, inboard gasoline, inboard diesel, and stationary that obviously is diesel, and then some additional information at the end. I'm going to be switching from the PowerPoint and the software to show some functionalities in demo mode. Okay, so introduction, who we are. We're part of the Kojali group. We're from Spain, although we're in different parts of the world, and we have distributors everywhere. We manufacture all makes parts, electronics, electronic control units. We started Diagnostics 20 years ago, and we have also started 2 years ago a telematics and remote diagnostics project, first on commercial vehicle, but I'm sure that in the future we're gonna also have it on with for marine. As I said, we are pretty much everywhere. In our case, Kojali USA, we're in Florida, and from here, we cover North America, Caribbean, and Central America. But the software, the marine software is the same. The engines pretty much are the same everywhere, so it's useful for everybody. We have 4 different projects: commercial vehicle, ag, off-highway, and marine. This one, obviously, it's everything related with marine. What is Jaltest Marine Solution? Is a global solution for all nautical workshops. Okay, I always say that obviously it's based on the advanced diagnostics, but then we have a lot of technical information. We're very good in that. We have a management tool within the software, and also the local customer support that's always crucial in this industry. We have 4 different models inside the marine software. We have inboards, outboard, jet skis, and stationary engines. Volvo Penta, it's available in the inboard side, gasoline and diesel, and then stationary, that's diesel. Let's start with the most important part, Volvo Penta. Let's start with inboard gasoline, then inboard diesel, and then stationary diesel. Just to let you know, if you have any kind of questions, we have a chat. One of my colleagues is there, so he can answer us, or otherwise we can just wait until the end of the webinar and we can answer some questions. Okay. Anyway, if not, you know that we have our customer support contact details, and you can also contact us through there. Okay, so let's start with inboard diesel. Volvo Penta, I believe, they're world leaders in diesel engines, but they expanded their market with gasoline. They don't manufacture the gasoline engines, okay? These also happen, for example, on the Mercury side, which is the, I believe the most important gasoline manufacturer. They have some diesel engines. They don't manufacture diesel engines. They specialize in gasoline. Here in Volvo Penta, they specialize in diesel, but, they also have some gasoline engines, and they're manufactured by General Motors and Ford. They don't manufacture the ECMs either on inboard gasolines. Obviously, they add their own mapping, and they use General Motors ECMs with MEFI 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then they change to E-controls for the EGC. The EVC, their electronic vessel communication control, is obviously manufactured by Volvo Penta. It's only found the EVC MC, okay, on the gasoline side, and only on EGC electronic control units, okay. These are the different ECMs. We have the MEFI 1, 2, and 3, 4, again, by General Motors. Their communication protocols are MEFI, GM, UART. These are the connectors. Anyway, I'm going to do an example in demo mode. When you try to connect, you see the pinout detail, the connector you need, and then this is our own part number when using Jaltest Marine, JDC604, okay? MEFI 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have E-controls, EGC, communicates through CAN, okay, OBDM, and these are all the cables. This connector was only available in 2006, like only that one. and then it coexisted with other cables before and after 2006. That's why we don't have a direct connector for this, and you need to use the multi-pins. For those systems where it coexists two different type of connectors, well, instead of using this one, you can just use, for example, in this case, the OBDM cable, okay? Well, as we may know, well, the MEFI technology is not only used by Volvo Penta. Well, you can find other manufacturers like Marine Power 7, which we're including them in the next version in February. Ilmar, Inmore, Crusader, Mercury, PCM, Malibu. Okay. Also, the EGC is not only used, for Volvo Penta. Actually, it's a huge company. They manufacture ECMs for different industries, and they also manufacture ECMs for other marine manufacturers. For example, in the Crusader case, instead of calling it EGC, is GCP. At the end, functionalities, are the same, but development is different. Okay. In this case, also, we know that from MEFI 1 2 3 4, then we have from 5 to 7 with the OBDM, but Volvo Penta, they just switched to this manufacturer. Okay. We have 3 different generations. Okay, the first one is GI, GSI, OSI. They're mostly MEFIs in some EGC. Then we have GXI, mostly EGC, and some MEFI 3.4. Here we don't find MEFI 1.2. And then we have V6 and V8, which are only EGC. Some functionalities that are more common on the gasoline side, we have, for example, EGCs is the only gasoline ECM with compression test. We kind of call it like a fake compression test because in this case, it's not like on diesels. The control unit deactivates the injectors and the ignition coils, and we stop the engine from starting. And then we must turn the key on, keep it on, and the engine will rotate next to the starter. Okay. Here right now, the user, the technician, will determine if the compression on each cylinder is correct using a pressure gauge. Okay. It's not like in diesel that the own electronic control unit gives you the value. Okay, and the compression value from each combustion chamber. Other thing, operation data. That's something that's mostly common on gasoline engines. It's not that common on diesel engines. Okay, then EGC versus MEFI. Well, EGC obviously is more recent. MEFI 1.2 early 90s, MEFI 3.4 later 90s, EGC from 2005. On EGC, we find obviously it's more technological, more measurement, more actuations. We have the compression test, idle speed. We can adjust the trim limit, where in MEFI you cannot do it. And on MEFI, on system checks, you only have the cylinder cutouts. You also have many actuations, but in general, it's an older technology. Let's get to the demo. Okay, let's do a demo with Jaltest Marine with a 5.7 GXI. I believe is a great example. That's right now. This is the main menu. When you start the engine, you click into Inboard Engine and you click into Volvo Penta. Okay, now here you have all the displacements. Okay, we set 5.7 GXI. It's a good example because you can find the MEFI 3.4. Remember GXI second generation. You don't have MEFI 1.2. And also, well, here you have the EGC. You have the EVC MC, okay? And then you also have, some peripheral systems like the ham control unit, ham interfacing unit, etc. The best thing that we can do is obviously perform a system scan so we know what's inside. So that's a good thing. You just connect, you click into system scan, and that's it, okay? Let's do an example. Here, for example, if you want to know the electronic control units, you can always click here and see image. You will see the electronic control unit, and that's it. In order to connect, we can click here first on connectors. You have the different options, the location of the connector image, pinout detail, and you have also the connectors you need with the part numbers, okay? Here we have connection 2. This was an example, okay? We can have a 5.7 GXI where you can find one type of connectors or the other. Here again, as it's only found as an only connector, you know, and it didn't coexist with other connectors like the OBDM, we need to use the multi-pins, okay? Let's click connect. And now we can be in a gasoline inboard engine or a diesel, or we can go to another brands. And well, I'm sure most of you are already users, but if not, you know, it's the same structure, the same way of understanding the software, okay? First thing, read fault codes. Okay, same structure, codes, if it's active or not, you know, the code, description, and then here's something that we believe, you know, we're a game changer because we provide not only the code and description, but the freeze frame data, which is related to the diagnostic side. And then we relate the technical information to the fault code, okay? That's why we call this guided diagnostics. Now we click into help and components of the fault. Here you have the components related to the fault code. You can click into see information about the component, and you will see locations. You know, you can see if we click here, you know, more information, you know, operational values. It can take you directly to the diagrams, to etc. We have also the fuses and relays, which in this case, okay, not only wiring diagrams. And here, finally, what we have is the wiring diagrams, okay? So here with the symbol, wiring diagrams, how every component is connected to the ECM, we can choose the year and click accept. This is very useful, although you already know, because, you know, if we have a fault code, that doesn't mean the component's damaged, maybe it's the wiring. So it's important to know all this information so we can check the wirings and know from where the problem comes. Okay, so it's consistent. Okay, we have left and right the components. In the middle, we have the ECM. And it's very simple. We just need to understand how it's connected, all the pinouts. And here we have the sockets, X1 and X2. You can double click and you will see the ECM, X1, X2, operational values, tiny torques. And here you have socket X1, X2, so it's very, very easy to find where each component is connected, okay? Communication and tension. Okay, so if you don't have active fault code, it doesn't matter. You can always click into diagrams, and you can click into show component list, and you will see the complete list of components that are connected to the ECM. You can click anything, and it will take you directly to that component and highlight it. Let's go back to the diagnostics menu. We have fault code troubleshooting. We have two types of troubleshooting. That's also part of the technical information. Fault code troubleshooting obviously is related to the fault code, so it's related to an electronic situation. And then symptoms, it can also be related to mechanical situations. Okay, so we have those two types of troubleshooting guides. So we can start with step one. Follow the instructions. We can always click into refresh to see if the active fault code turn into non-active fault code, and then we can, if otherwise, we can go to step 2 and step 3. So that's very important. Okay, so for us, technical information, it's crucial in the development of Jaltest Marine. Let's go back. Obviously, we can clear fault codes. We can click to system data. As I was saying before, we have ECU data. We find this in all the systems. Okay, this is information that's been registered by the manufacturer. Okay, around we see demo mode because we're in demo mode, and then operation data. Okay, this is something that is more related to gasoline engines. Okay, in this case, we have 4 different options. For example, if I click onto engine operation hours, you can see the RPM ranges and the intake pressure. So this is very, very useful, and it's available through either system data or sometimes in some brands you find it here as operation data. Let's click into live data. Live data selection and injectors. Same concept. Let's click into live data selection. We have all kind of measurements. In this case, we have 66 in total. we can select all. We have search engines everywhere on the software to make the user experience easier. Or you can just select by groups, okay? Pressure, temperature, time, voltage, etc. I'm just gonna select two examples, about oil pressure sensor and intake air temperature sensor, and we have three different options. This first one is the numeric value. Don't be afraid. Celsius, we can turn it into Fahrenheit, okay? So that's not a problem at all. We can change it here in configuration. Units of measurements, we can change it here, so that's not a problem at all. Very important. If you remember, when we were selecting a component related to a fault code, we could select display measurements. The measurements are related to those components. We can do the same thing in the other direction. You can click into the question mark, and now you can see the technical information related to that sensor, okay? Like images, operational values, etc. This is very useful. Again, this is part of the technical information, as it's within the software. We can relate constantly diagnostics, technical information, diagnostics, the management tool, diagnostics, customer support. Okay, second option, we can see this as gauges. And also we can graph it, okay? If we have more than one measurement, we can take it out, put it in, stop it, go back and forth. We can expand this, etc. Okay, so we have three different options, like the numeric value, gauges, and graph. Okay, I will do the example. Everything that we're doing is being saved in the diagnostics report. When we access the measurements, the numeric value is what is being saved automatically. But if we want to save and do a screenshot, we can do it without any problem. You can click here, screenshot, including diagnostics report, and you click check. Okay. You can then just click into the report preview. This is something, in general, the diagnostics report, very, very useful for any kind of technicians, any kind. We have a lot of surveyors that are our customers. For them, this is, very, very important. You can put your logo in here, information about your company, date, time, user, because you can create different users. You can relate this report to a specific customer, to a specific vessel. And then everything we have been doing right now, not much at the moment, is reading fault codes, but it's being saved, system data, screenshot, everything. We can even use this as an invoice. Okay. Also, if you want to save this, you want to do a data recorder, you can do it as well. I'm going to show it in a moment. Here, every time you see a plus sign, this means that you can create a new group. So if now I save this measurements, or I select more, next time I can just click it. I will see a new option here, and that's it. Okay, now we can activate components, ejector coils, injectors, relays. Okay, system checks, cylinder cutouts, compression test. I was saying before, that's only found on EGC, ECMs on the gasoline side, idle speed as well. Calibration, adjust the trim limit. Also, it's only found on EGC systems, not on MEFI. Okay. And data recorder, I'm just going to do an example using gasoline. I'm not going to do it with the diesels. We can select up to 24 measurements, and we can record up to 30 minutes. Okay, very useful to perform sea trials. You can select, I'm just going to select the same measurements from before. You click accept, and that's it. And we start to record. You will see here we have active fault codes when it happened. You can see the measurements related. You can even select it and see it as gauges or graph it. You can add comments, very useful. Okay, comment 1. And then you can just select the comment 1 or 2, and it will take you directly to that moment. Comment 2. Okay, and when we're done, we just need to click in here to cancel, a cross sign, and that's it. We can see the recording right now. If we don't want to do it, it doesn't matter. You can click to main menu, and then we have here a data player where you can just see and play all the recordings. Okay, we click into accept. Okay, let's close it. And now we can click into play, and we'll see exactly if we have an active fault code, when you have all your guided diagnostics thing, even here on the data recorder, well, system data, live data. And look here, you have the comments. You can click here, you go to comment 1, okay, you go directly to the time when it happened. You can go then to comment 2. So that's very, very useful, okay? So you have different options in viewing the live data. So it's will satisfy everybody's needs on the live data section, okay? Let's go back. Let's click into finish, accept, and now we can show you, technical information. It's on the left column. In general, you have some information. It depends on the brand and model. Here we have timing torques and then components. All those components that are being used when we do the guided diagnostics. Okay, those components related to the fault codes are taken from here. Okay, system technical data, and then components. Okay, you can search everything. Diagrams, the same thing. You can click into diagrams. You can select wiring diagrams or fuses and relays. Same thing. Also, very important, if you're not connected to the vessel, but you want to access all the technical information, you can do it. You only need to have your link wire connected to your PC, okay? Okay, well, same thing, I've already showed you. You have different pages, left and right components. In the middle, we have the ECM. Vessel service data, okay? So here, this is another report that we can generate. We can even add our own maintenance guide, so we can generate our own information in the maintenance reports. For example, 1 year engine compartment, you can just, click everything. You can add some notes, and then you can just generate your maintenance report. It's similar format than with the diagnostics report, okay? You can also add this to a specific customer vessel, and everything we've been doing, it's being saved, okay? All this then is saved in the GRP, Garage Resource Planning, okay? This is our management tool that's within the software, and we have, fantastic functionalities. Then we have vessel technical data, okay? Very useful. I always insist, it's not just about diagnostics, it's also about technical information. Actually, we have many customers that purchase the tool because they're more interested in the technical information side. Okay, so here we have different menus, specifications, propulsion system, fuel system, lubrication, timing torques, very interesting. Okay. All this is available within vessel technical data. And then troubleshooting by symptoms, as I said before, more general things, because it's symptoms. Also, it can be symptoms related to a mechanical problem, not an electronic situation. So it's always good to have access to this information. And you can always, again, customize your troubleshooting guides, okay? And if you have several Jaltest Marine units, or you only have one unit, but you have created different users inside your network, if one of the technicians adds some information, the other one that can be in another location using another computer will have access to that information. So that's fantastic, and only Jaltest Marine provide this type of functionalities. Okay, let's go back. We have finished with gasoline. These inboards. Wait, let's go back. Okay, inboard diesel. Obviously, this is the most important part on the marine side. Again, diesel engine world leaders. In this case, they manufacture all their diesel engines. Their ECMs are manufactured mainly by Volvo Penta, by them. They also have Bosch electronic control models. Injection system, they have Volvo Penta and Bosch. And here the EVC, the electronic vessel control, we have the EVC MC, who was also available on EGC, on some EGC gasoline inboards. Here you can find them on D3s, because they are older engines, and then you have from A to E. Okay, E is more recent, and we are working on it. We're gonna add it very soon. The EVC2, actually, on the Ibex 2019, they received an innovation awards with this technology. Just to remind you that we also received an innovation awards with Jaltest Marine. This is going to be very soon in Jaltest. Okay. Also, ECMs, we have the Volvo EDC1 is the older one for the KAD, KMD, TAMD. It's, we can call like an early Volvo protocol. It's quite similar to J1708, but it's not exactly it. This is the pinot detail, the connector, and this is the part number using Jaltest Marine. Then we have Bosch EECU for the D3s, 1708. Pretty much here's, this is the most typical Volvo Penta diesel connector, okay, connector and the part number. Then we have the Volvo EECU manufactured by Volvo, obviously, and we have this for D4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 16, 1708, and then the most technological electronic control model is the D8. Okay, it's this one with UDS communication protocols. This like a high-speed CAN. Okay. Okay, so here, instead of talking about generations, it's more appropriate to say 3 different models. Okay, we have first the KAD, KMD, TAMD. First, these are engines with electronic control. They're still mechanical engine and mechanical pump, but they have an electronic pump regulator. They don't have the EVC technology, but they have like more, older technology called EDC-CP. We say obviously like a fictitious system. Why? Because everything, even with the EVC, you need to do it manually. You have access to releases and procedures that is also part of the technical information, and you can then follow instructions to do, in this case, a levers calibration or idle speed calibrations. You have then, we can call this series V2 version 2. This I just added D1 and D2, but it's not obviously on the Jaltest Marine solution because it's mechanical engines. You have the D3s, which is Bosch ECU and Bosch Common Rail injection system with 5 cylinders. Then we have D4, D6 Volvo ECU with Bosch Common Rail injection system, 4 and 6 cylinders respectively. Then we have D5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 16, which are Volvo ECU with Volvo injection system. Then the third part, the most technological one, the D8 with the EMS, V3, new system, more technological, Volvo ECU and Volvo Common Rail injection system. Okay, now we have some models. If you access the software, that you find IPS. Okay, this is related to the pod drive system. Okay, this IPS stands for Intelligent Propeller System. We have IPS, and this is the horsepowers. We have obviously diagnostics measurements, and very, very soon we're gonna add the calibration for the IPS. Except the D8, where you can see what engine it is. To know what engine, you just need to click into vessel technical data and see what is the engine. Okay, so in this case, if you select any, for example, IPS i350 400. Then you click into vessel technical data, and then you will see the engine. Okay. Okay, so let's go into demo mode. D12, I believe, is a fantastic example. Okay, that's what I was saying. D series, we have IPS, K, AD, and KMD, etc. The most, they're the oldest one. Okay, so IPS, what I was saying, for example, here IPS 500. Vessel technical data, and then you can see here the engine. Okay, let's go into D series, D12. Okay, So here, what we have is, so on all systems, diagnostics tool, in this case, the best thing is to select system scan. Again, I said the EVC, which is like a fictitious system. We need to use the releases and procedures. We'll see the other systems, okay? The engine and also the other systems are also part of the EVC. In this case, let's select the engine. Again, you can select the connector help symbol, same concept, connector location, connector image, pinout detail, and cables we need, and part number, and we click connect. Okay, so as I said before, well, if you are already a user, you already know, but if you are not a Jaltest Marine user, same structure, you can click it to read full codes. Same thing, we have the full code, if it's active or not, code, number of times it happened, description, and all the information related, freeze frame data, and the helpline component of the fault. Okay, 3 full codes, system data. Here, as I said, why don't you find operation data, because that's more common on gasolines. Okay, actual components, preheating relay. We have system checks, cylinder balance, very important, cylinder compression, cylinder cutout, evaluation of the injection. Actually, we did a vlog a few months ago that's called doing a passive diagnostics using Volvo Penta. I highly recommend you to watch it. You can have a mechanical problem, but we can still use system checks to find out if there's a problem with the engine and use the technical information to solve this situation. So that's a very, very good vlog. Parameter, something very, very important. Injector coding, we also have a vlog. I believe it has been done with stationary engine, but still, it's the same procedure. Okay. We also have another one with Caterpillar using trim files. Okay. Data recorder, you have already seen it, but this is our coverage, very good. Dealer level, we also have the same thing, technical information, all the components related to the ECU, okay? Diagrams, same thing, same concept. You can go to another brand, to another type of engine, it's going to be the same, okay? Left and right, you have the components, and in the middle, you have the electronic control unit, okay? Very, very simple. Same thing with vessel service data. I'm going to click into vessel technical data because, it's always very important in Volvo Penta, and we have great technical information. Okay, so same concept. Tuning torques, that was saying you can do a compression test. You can see if we have a loss of efficiency, then you can come here and see the information, the different stages. You can also come here to adjustments and tolerance, valves adjustments. So this is not diagnostics, it's technical information, but it's very important. That's why I always talk about the 4 parts of Jaltest Marine. Let's go back. Okay. And let's go back to the PowerPoint. EVC, very important. Electronic vessel control. All models have very similar functionalities. What is the EVC? Well, it's a system that connects and manages internal communication between the engine and driveline, levers, and display screen. And we have to access those releases and procedures. Again, that's what we call fictitious system, because you have to access, click to parameters or calibrations, pull up the technical releases file, and you can just follow the instructions. Very important. We need to identify the correct EVC. If we click here into the help button menu, you will see A, B, and C are panels, okay, and D and E are ECUs. So it's important to know this in order to select the correct EVC, okay? Because here again, if you perform a system scan, you won't see anything because you won't connect directly, okay? You need to pull up the releases and procedures, okay? Let's do an example with this real quick. Let's change to another engine. Okay. We can click it to EVCE. You click here. Okay, and you can see that's the electronic control unit. We need to identify. You click into connect. And now you'll pull out the system data parameters in calibration. So for example, you can change the language and unit, idle speed, the fuel tank, if you change it and it has a different volume, you can go into calibrations, okay? Here important, if you want to perform, for example, control lever calibration, if we're changing one lever to the other, okay, so it's not the first startup, you need to first click into auto configuration, you need to click into update, and then after that you need to click into control lever and do the calibration, okay? Same thing for fuel lever sensor. If it's the first startup, is a brand new boat, you need to click into first startup and then control lever or fuel level sensor, okay? Okay, and now very important, you can call peripheral systems. Part of the EVC technology, for example, systems like the HCU, Helm Control Unit, HIU, Helm Interface Unit. You have the PCU, the Power Controller, manages the communication between the engine and transmission. SUS, SCU, okay, this is when we have the IPS, Steering System Control Unit. Here, very important, very useful to perform the system scan, but if we don't activate the HCU before, we won't see it, okay? So this is very important, and we can also use the technical releases for this, okay? For example, you can click into releases and procedures. And we'll see how to do it, okay? System auto detection and connection. We have to follow these instructions, okay? Depending on the type of EVC you have, you need to follow the instructions in order to be able to perform a system scan and connect, okay? Okay. Okay, so let's go to stationary engine, obviously all diesels. All diesel engines, they're all manufactured by Volvo Penta, except the D-Force and at least the smallest D6 that are manufactured by Deutz, DCMs, Volvo Penta. We have two types of injection system, and here we can see something different. Okay, now we have the exhaust gas treatment system. In this case, it's called AMC. Unfortunately, we don't see this in the inboard or the purely marine systems at the moment, hopefully very soon. But if we connect to a stationary engine, we'll see this, that it's different. Here it's very important, not only we need to know the type of model, but we need to know the tier, okay? So this is very important, depending on the year that it has been sold, maximum limit combustion gases emissions, again, currently this applies only to stationary, not to inboard. Depending, we can have different values like particles in suspension, the NOx, the hydrocarbons. So it's very important to identify this. We go from tier 1 to final tier 4 in our coverage, but recently we have turned into tier 5. Okay. For example, on the tier 3s, the EGR and common rail was introduced. Okay, so now the engine generates less pollution because the engine is more efficient, to satisfy each regulation. At some point, that was not enough, so the industry added that new system, okay, called exhaust gas treatment, okay, and with Volvo, it's called ACM, okay. From 2020, we had the tier 5. It's a little more restricted than the final tier 4, but most of the brands, they satisfy the regulation with their final tier 4 technologies, okay? So this is very important. We have different ECMs, the EDC, we have the EDC V2, we have then the EMS and ACM, okay? EMS and ACM is the UDS, high speed CAN, and then we can find, you know, in any of these systems, these two types of connectors, you know, the 6-pin and the 8-pin, JDC 527 and JDC 528. Okay, now we can have a division in tiers. For example, the V2s are EDC 1708. We can find all these models communication to 1708. We have tier 1, tier 2, and some tier 3. Then we go to D series V3 for the EMS and ACM, okay, UDS communication protocols for these models, some tier 3, and then we have interim tier 4 and final tier 4, okay. On the ejection system, we can find, you know, from on the EMS side, from D4 to D11, common rail injection system, and for the biggest ones, D13, D16 is a unit pump, you know, it's a regular injection system. Okay, let's do an example with a D8. Let's go to the main menu. We click into stationary engines, then we click into Volvo Penta, and then we can click into D8. As you can see, we have the model and we have the tiers. So this is very important. If we click into D8, you can find the tier 2, tier 3, and final tier 4s, okay? So it's important to know not only the model, but we need to know the tier. It's very important. We click into final tier 4, which is the most technological one. Let's start with the engine. Here, I'm not gonna show it again, but here you can see the cables you need and how to connect. Well, it asks us to do it because we have those two options, 527 and 528. Let's click connect. Okay, now I already shown, you know, read flow codes, system data, operation. Well, operation data, look here, as I said before, it's available not through system data, but it's available through a menu here that's called operation data, with a lot of measures: coolant temperature, oil temperature, engine torque, engine protection, fuel consumption, you know, after treatment data, record, etc. Live data was the same concept as before. We can click into actuate components. Now we are seeing actuations and functionalities are not found on an inboard, even if we select the same engine. System checks, same thing. Now, besides some functionality related to the engine, we have others related to the after treatment. The ones that are managed by the engine, okay? This is very, very interesting, and that's a difference from inboard diesels and stationary diesels. Parameters, also not only the injector code, we can change all the things, do parameters, programming, and maintenance, very important, okay? Like the region and other type of functionalities related to the after treatment, you know, side, okay? Again, this is only found on stationary engines, not on inboards. Calibration, okay? Very, very, very interesting. Let's disconnect, and I'm gonna select the ACM, exhaust gas treatment system. I click into connect. Same concept, you know, again, diagnostics, system data, live data. Then we have system checks that obviously are related, for example, the AdBlue with that other system that's necessary for the gas treatment, okay? Maintenance, again. Jaltest Marine is a very, very complete tool, okay? Initially, years ago, we only had inboards, outboards, and jet skis, but like 2 or 3 years ago, we added the stationary. It adds huge value to the tool. So if you're a diesel technician, I highly recommend to also have the stationary engines model if you don't have it right now. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint, and now the last part, additional information, some Jaltest Marine numbers. Now in general, we have 67 brands. All these model 1,231 models at the moment on the version 20.3. In February, March, we're gonna have the 21.1. So we will have more brands, more models, more systems. You know, we have all these diagrams, troubleshooting guides. You know, in more than 90% of the systems, we have wiring diagrams and troubleshooting by symptoms. Here you can see some evolution, you know, with brands, also here on model systems, diagram troubleshooting. We're in constant development. We have updates every 4 months. We're very strict on that. Every 4 months, we have updates in any of our tools, okay, not just marine. So this is very important for us, and you need to know that you don't purchase a tool, but you add a project that is in constant development. As I said before, we had an award also as the EVC2 technology of Volvo Penta in the Bojan Marine hardware software in the Ibex 2019 with our Jaltest Marine solution. So it's always great to have recognition. Our equipment consists in 3 parts: hardware, software, and license. We have different license, okay? You can purchase the full software kit, which is the only one that includes stationary engines. Then you can purchase the boat kit, which is inboard plus outboard. Then you can purchase just inboard, just outboard, and just jet skis, okay? Now here you have a license. You have different options like computer and all the optional cables, okay? They're different. There's a lot of cables, like up to 60. So we have different kits, or you can just purchase them individually. It's a Windows-based software, so very important. And then we need to have enough space on the hard drive, you know, and have we recommend, you know, an Intel processor, at least 4 GB RAMs. But if you install it in any Windows, it's going to work as long as you have enough space on the hard drive. Obviously, you want to use the Bluetooth capabilities. Your device has to, you know, have that Bluetooth capabilities. Also, if it's a Windows tablet, you can also use it there. This is important to highlight. We have 67 brands at the moment. You know, it's easier, especially for technicians that work in different brands, to just have one software, one license, instead of just trying to purchase different type of softwares. In some cases, if you are not an official dealer, you don't have access to those type of tools. So Jaltest Marine is a, you know, a fantastic solution to do your work, okay? We can have different potential customers, like, well, end customers, independent technicians, you know, offshore services, military, public. We also have customers in that side, dealers, because you can use this as a second tool for the brands you represent, or you can expand your business with new brands, you know, shipyard, service concession, contract. In general, everybody that's related to the maintenance side is a potential customer of Jaltest Marine. Customer support, as I said, is very, very important. We're available. If you are in North America, Caribbean, Central America, you can contact us through here, customer support, jaltest.com, you know, phone number, etc. If you are watching this webinar from another place, you can always click into question mark, contact details, and you can see, you know, either our headquarters, or, you know, if you are part of Italy, France, you can just call directly there, okay? I was forgetting something very important. I already mentioned the customer support, the GRP. I'm gonna do this real quick, although I have already done a webinar that's purely GRP. It's also in our YouTube channel, so I highly recommend you to subscribe into our YouTube channel, because we're uploading a lot of vlogs and a lot of webinars, okay? So real quick, we can create customer list and vessel list. We can add the reports and all the tasks to those specific customers, vessels. You can access here all your reports, diagnostic reports, maintenance reports, and work order reports. Workshop management, okay. We have different type of GRPs. All are free. We have the basic GRP, we have GRP Synchro and GRP Enterprise, okay. So if you're in GRP Enterprise, you will have access to the workshop management. Again, I highly recommend you to watch that GRP webinar that is on our YouTube channel. You can access your task, you can create reception forms, and on the human resource side, you can create different users, okay. We have different roles like administrators, service managers, reception, so foreman, and technician. Again, you will see everything in that webinar, okay. Before I finish, okay, contact details by phone, by email, and also we can do remote assistance if we need so, okay. This is very important. That's part of the customer support. Okay, and finally, why Jaltest Marine? If we talk about Volvo Penta, we are the best aftermarket solution for Volvo Penta, for sure. Besides Volvo Penta, it's all makes and all models in one tool and one license. You have seen it's very easy to use, very intuitive, same structure, same layout for different models. Very important, the training side, e-learning. These webinars are part of that. We have 20 more now on the Jaltest Diagnostics side. We have, I think, 21 years of experience. Extra features that are fantastic, like the GRP, flexible license, okay, customer support, wireless connection, etc. So it's a fantastic tool. If you're not a customer and you want to book a demo, you can do it. You can contact your distributor, or we have an application called Calendly. You can access our website, kojaliusa.com, and you can book a demo, or you can just contact us through email, or if you have doubts, you can always call us, okay? So thank you very much. And if you have a question that hasn't been answered by my colleague, we can talk about that. Well, I believe that we don't have any questions.
Yeah, Ignacio, there was a question about programming key with Jaltest.
Programming keys. Okay, so I will need to ask our engineers, because I don't know if it's regarding gasolines or diesels. Can you? It seems okay. I see it's Matusiak. Here, I would need to know, are you, is it about the EVC, or is it about the gasoline engine or the diesel engine? Because at the moment, I don't know that answer. Is the first time I have been asked about that. Jorge, do we know if it's related to gasoline engines or diesels?
I think it was related to gasoline.
Gasoline engine, okay.
It was Michael
Matusiak, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now he's typing diesel on the chat.
Diesel too, through the EVC. Okay. Here, I will need to ask, okay? So I don't want to give you a wrong answer. If you can send us your email address to customersupport@jaltest.com. Yeah, I see here diesel. If you can send us, if you are all interested in that, if you can send us your email through, well, let's do something, because you have signed up through the application. So we're just gonna find out the answer and just send you an email to everybody that was in this webinar. I think it's gonna be the easiest part, okay? And also, if you have further questions in the future, don't hesitate. If you're a customer, you can call us. We have our customer support option. If you're not a customer anyway, you can contact us through that email or info@kojaliusa.com, okay? I won't forget about this question. I'm going to find out and send it to you by email for sure, okay? Thank you very much for watching. You will receive an email with the link to this webinar, and anyway, in a few days, we're gonna upload this to our social media, YouTube and Facebook, okay? Thank you very much.
Then there was another question, Ignacio. Tony is asking us if we will have on-road diesel and marine, if we can have all of them in a same platform.
Oh, okay, yes. That's going to be possible from our next version, 21.1. End of February, beginning of March. You can add also to your existing marine tool, you can add the commercial vehicle or ag or off-highway software. The same thing if you are a truck user or ag user or highway user, now you will be able to mix all that on the same software. Right now, it was possible to do it with off-highway, ag, and commercial vehicle, not marine, but we're gonna do it. So it's gonna be a matter of time, like 1 or 2 months. Next version. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and see you at the next webinar. It's gonna be in mid-February. Instead of being Volvo Penta, we're gonna talk exclusively about Mercury. Okay, so it's gonna be also a fantastic topic. Thank you very much.